All right, everybody. Hello. I didn't want to wait. There was like 18 more seconds left. I did not want to wait. Hello, everybody. Kings win 113-119. I am Dave. You are Kings fans. If you're tuning into this, please let me know in the comments if you can hear me. I'm actually on my laptop, which I usually don't run this off my laptop. I'm actually on the road right now. I've got as you can see, no, I do not have flowing black hair. This is a terrible green screen. And I also don't know why my little banner at the bottom isn't going. But let me know in the comments if you can, in fact, hear me. I don't like that. Why is the banner not going? Everybody, that's kind of dumb. It's supposed to scroll. Why is my banner not scrolling? Whatever. You don't care. 4 in a row. 7 of 10. Sole possession of 4th, and we're in January. Now, there's a lot of different angles and micro analysis we could do about tonight. But let me let everybody get in here too from Twitter. Forgive me. Sounds good, Earl. Thank you. Let me just put one little note out here. We are in right now, and really appreciate you guys on a rainy Sunday night, probably where you are tuning in. Let's talk about this. Anyone who listens to my show knows I'm very big on macro, micro, 50,000 feet and on the ground analysis. I want to do some macro tonight. I want to zoom out for a second and look at this game as a whole, and look at where they are at right now as a whole. It's fantastic. You're hosting a playoff game if the season ends today. You've won 7 of 10. Yes, we've had Charlotte games and Washington games and arguably Laker games and Atlanta games that we've lost. But look at their effort tonight. Now, I want to see you in the comments because I'm very curious. I want to kind of go around the room here. Is there anything that stood out to you tonight? And try to answer quickly if you are. Because I don't want to influence anyone. Was there anything that stood out to you tonight? Any plays, anything that happened, any individual player? What do you think, having just wrapped up that game, stands out? And while you're answering, want to give a shout out to the Crown Downtown folks. Along with anybody else that was there that just happened to be there as a Kings fan. But I know the Crown Downtown folks left yesterday, I think, in what was a really, really bad storm. They went down there, got there yesterday, stayed over, did one of their business trips. Because I hope you heard on the broadcast, I'm sure you did, light the beam, light the beam, light the beam. That's fantastic to hear on the road. And here's some perspective, too. Going into Greg Popovich's house where San Antonio plays and beating them on the road. I get that the Spurs aren't great, but still. All right, let me look at some of these in the chats, and thank you. Davion scored. Well done, Skip. But it's true. Keegan rebounds. He had 5? Yes, which is pretty good for him. Defense in the second half. Let's look at that second half for a second. Let me get my game cast up here. I mean, they allowed 55 points in the second. It's fine. Now they scored 69. Nice. But still outscored by 10 in the second. Fox getting heated going on with discount Rodman. Yeah. Notice that there's a little edge to these guys the last couple games. I don't hate that. Davion on fire, defensive adjust. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for contributing that. Here's my point. What stood out tonight to me, what I found myself kind of getting in an existential way and looking at this from a macro point of view, nothing really stood out because it was such an expected, workmanlike, good teams win these games type of wins. And let me explain that. So Sabonis was sublime as usual, 18, 18, and 8. That's just stupid. Foxy came on 23 on very efficient shooting. Murray had his three-pointers. Herter, I give a pass because he's been sick. He didn't have a terrible game. Just you knew he was he was going to be hurting a little bit tonight. Played 23 minutes, just 23. Barnes, 29 points. Malik Monk had 2 points. But Davion Mitchell comes in, who is my player of the game, which is tough because you don't want to give it to Sabonis every night. He or Fox, he can get it pretty much every night. And apologies to Barnes. But Davion coming in, and in 20 minutes having 19 points, 7 of 8, 4 of 5. That's fantastic. And this game was a little closer, I think, for a while than a lot of us wanted. But look at what they're doing. And I'm not necessarily sure I'm comfortable with it. But with these bad teams that they're now beating, they're playing with their food a little bit. And then they do what was done to us so many years. They stomp on the neck. Some things to point out. The Kings had 2 turnovers late in the fourth. I looked midway through the fourth. They had 3 turnovers for almost the entire game. They ended up with 5. And you got a young team in San Antonio. They had 10. That's actually not that bad. The splits for the Kings, and I don't want to just be a stat reader here, but 55, 46.7 from beyond the arc, and 80%. 80% from the line on 25 attempts to San Antonio's 20 attempts. And they shot 65%. My point is this. What the Kings are doing, they're doing what good teams do in addition to winning. They're closing down at the end. Their stars are rising up. There's a new person every single night, almost, that comes through. Oh, it's a Malik Monk night. Oh, it's a Keegan night. And I'm talking about secondary beyond Sabonis and Fox. Oh, hey, Harrison with 29. Oh, look at Terrence Davis showed up. I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just saying Terrence Davis showed up big on the box score one night, like he did the other night. They lead the Pacific Division by 2 games. And Earl, let's remember, that's a Pacific Division that holds the current reigning best record in the regular season belt holder in Phoenix, the current defending world champions, and the Clippers, who many had as a preseason favorite or top 3 favorite to win the whole thing. And the Kings are the ones leading the Pacific Division. I asked the other day if they end up winning the Pacific, do we get another banner? I like the idea somebody had, which is combine the 2 banners, the 2 Pacific divisions. Some specific questions, that's fine. Sasha Vezenkov. Sasha did an interview the other day talking about coming over to the NBA. I wouldn't be surprised if he was over here next year, but I also don't want – I know especially when the team's bad, we do this thing where, like, if you have rights to somebody or even if they're in the G League, you go, oh, my God, this is the save. This could be a super – I don't want to put too much pressure on Sasha. If he comes over, great, but let's not, it's like when Bogey showed up and came over. Bogey was if Sasha can be even like a diet, like a bootleg Bogey, I'm fine with that. It's a great addition. Hoops says, I think the major Hoop Studios, the major positive here is the Kings are showing that even when key players like Malik, Herter, and Fox, some of the games struggle, they still take care of business. And it's somebody else every night. They play very unselfish. Nobody's sitting there outwardly saying, I got to get mine. I got to get mine. That's just great basketball. And look at how efficient everybody was on the team. I know I told you they shot 55% from the field. Sabonis, 7 of 14. That's 50%. Barnes, 8 of 11. Keegan Murray, 4 of 9. I mean, still, you're talking about 45% there. 11 of 21 for De'Aaron Fox. That's about 55%. Lyles, 4 of 4. Metu, 3 of 6, 50%. Davion Mitchell, 7 of 8. That's just ridiculous. I mean, Malik Monk was 1 of 4. Malik Monk and Kevin Herter. Think about this. The 2 sharpshooters we brought in, and I don't mean any disrespect by that. Let me make my point. Were a combined 5 of 15, 33% on the night. Herter and Monk. Now, if you told me a road game, your 2 assassins shoot 5 of 15, 33%. Oh, my goodness, we're going to lose, right? No, because other people stepped up, even when 2 of your main sharpshooters were struggling a little bit. That's fantastic. Earl, I agree. Keegan's going to be a great player. Right now, he basically is getting in. He is finding his spots, fitting in where he can. But it seems like 80% of his game is chill out in the corner or at the top of the key, and if you're open, they swing it to you, knock down your three. I like that he's not trying to force it. I like that he's not trying to, get on Sports Center. I like that he's not worrying about anything other than how can I help this team. And by the way, that's a mark of a rookie that comes into an established culture. And think about this for a second. It's a mark of a rookie that comes into a culture with veteran leadership on a successful team. Now, we're talking, our theme tonight is macro versus micro. Let's go back up to 50,000 feet. So Keegan Murray's the number 4 pick in the draft. Now, think about some Kings players in the past, like a top 5 pick like Tyreek Evans, top 5 pick like De'Aaron Fox. Heck, I think what was Boogie Cousins, number 10? Here's my point. How many times have we seen the rookie, the new rookie for the year, the new lottery pick come in on a Kings team? And those, anytime I say 1-4 flat to you guys, the late, great Paul Westphal, right? The late, great Paul Westphal, the 1-4 flat for Tyreek Evans because they wanted to get him 25-5. How much emphasis was put on Boogie Cousins his rookie year? How much of a load did De'Aaron Fox have to put on his rookie year? And in some of those cases I just mentioned, these guys were picked at or below where Keegan was picked. So think about that. How different now is this team, and how much better is it for Keegan? Imagine if Keegan was drafted the year De'Aaron was, or the year that Boogie was, or the year that Tyreek was. Imagine Keegan coming into this team and having that type of usage and having that type of pressure. Now he can sit back, he can kind of shut his mouth, which is what he does, open his ears, open his eyes, learn from Harrison Barnes, learn from De'Aaron, learn from Malik, learn from Sabonis, learn from these vets. And he can sit back and he can get in where he fits in. Think about that for a second. When was the last time we had a high lottery pick come in and just be able to chill and find his spots and not have that weight on his shoulders? RH, I agree with you. I don't think he would be ready for it. But again, if he'd have been drafted on those teams, Keegan Murray, he'd have all kinds of pressure on him. Really think about that for a second, because we haven't talked a lot about that this year. How great is it, not only for Keegan Murray's short term, but his long-term career, that for the first time and God knows when on the Sacramento Kings, a lottery pick was able to come in and just learn and fit in. And he's starting, but he doesn't have that pressure where he's got to score 20, 25 a game. I think that'd ruin a guy like that. I really do. He landed in an excellent environment. You're right. So again, micro and macro. The micro is the Kings beat the Spurs tonight. The micro is the Kings have won 7 of 10. The micro is they've won 4 in a row. Now they go into LA. The former, I guess, is it Staples Center again now? Is it still crypto.com? And they go in there, maybe get a little revenge. The micro is they're a 4 seed. The micro is they're 2 games ahead in the Pacific. The micro is we're now officially in the second half of the season. The macro is things like Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray, gosh, now I'm starting to think, what happens if Boogie Cousins was on this team? What happens if Tyreek Evans as a rookie was on this team? What would happen if De'Aaron was drafted into this particular team? I mean, props to De'Aaron for getting through all that and coming out on the other side like Andy Dufresne and Shawshank. It's like De'Aaron's been crawling through that pipe filled with crap-smelling filth now for 7 years, and now he's in the rain right now, washing it all off. And looking far ahead, as you kind of mentioned in the comments here, yeah, you think this isn't going to be a better free agent destination than it's ever been? You think there's players that aren't going to want to come here, that aren't going to want to get on this team? They want to light the beam. They want to be a part of something. They want to play in front of these fans, which is why you really need to sign your GM to an extension as soon as possible. Send the message of stability. I think right now, I think there's a very difficult time making a case against Mike Brown as coach of the year. I think you'd have a very hard time making a case against Monty McNair as defensive player of the year. He drafted Keegan Murray. He made that trade for Domantas Sabonis, which is the ballsiest trade we've seen in the NBA in a long time. Seriously, when Monty McNair comes to work, he's riding a little motorcycle with one of them sidecars, and that sidecar has his cojones in it. That's how big they are to make that trade, and it looks good. Have that stability. Monty deserves it. Match his contract with Coach Brown and send a message to the players, more importantly, the rest of the league, that this hierarchy, this team, along with obviously the fan base and everything else, they're here to stay, no pun intended, but they're here to stay for the long haul. Jason, I hear you about overnight with free agency. I disagree, because I think overnight would be, during the season, which obviously you can't do. Think about it. You're going to have this whole season, whatever they do or don't do in the playoffs, and then summertime comes. I'm not saying they're going to, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Luka Doncic and Giannis are all going to come here, which, by the way, they aren't free agents. But what I'm saying is that this is going to be a more attractive. This summer will be the most attractive Sacramento has been for free agents, regardless. It's going to be the most attractive it's been probably in 17, 18 years. Truly. Even when they were making the playoffs towards the end here. I think this is a more attractive team than that, because they're on the way up. They have a young core. So, anyways, I know it's Sunday night. Some of you have to work tomorrow. I always appreciate you guys watching. Like I said, I apologize for the green screen crap here. I am not at home. I'm out of town. So we will be back Tuesday, Jason Ross and myself, to break this down. We'll get into Wednesday. I think we're going to have at least one or two visits with Kevin Herter. He had to skip last week because he was sick. We got a lot of football to break down, including your San Francisco 49ers and some pretty huge comebacks as well over the weekend. And we're not done with those playoffs. But that's other sports. Right now, the Sacramento Kings, I'm just going to say it again. And if you've been with me the whole time, I think this is like 8. Ian, not tomorrow morning. We're off tomorrow. Sorry, I don't think I made that clear. We're back Tuesday morning. The Sacramento Kings are in first place in the Pacific. They have a 2-game lead over Phoenix, Golden State, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Los Angeles Clippers. Last year's reigning best record in the regular season. This year's reigning world champion, the Clippers, with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard as a preseason favorite to win the title. And, oh, by the way, the LA Lakers with the best player, one of the best players in world history, and LeBron James on it as well. And here are the Kings, and they're in first place. Hi, we're the Kings. We're in first place. We're just little Kings, but we're in first place. And all the rest of these guys, all these Hollywood teams that are on ESPN all the time, TNT all the time, they're on. Add up the national TV appearances of the Suns, the Lakers, the Warriors, and the Clippers, and I will just bet you it's more national TV appearances by a decent margin than any other division, not conference, division in the NBA. And then there's the Kings. Now, obviously, we're going to get flexed into some national games here very soon, but isn't that cool? Isn't it cool to be a Kings fan right now? What does tomorrow have in store? What is next week? Is there going to be a giant losing streak? Will they collapse? I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't know. But here's to take in the next couple days and sitting on a 4-game win streak and sitting on the 4 seed and sitting on having won 7 of 10 and sitting on a 2-game lead in the Pacific. Let's sit on all that and just enjoy the fact that it is January 15th. And this is what is happening with the Kings. And we haven't seen this in a long time. And I just think it's okay to have some positive vibes, huh? Let's have some positive vibes and worry about next week. But the funny thing is, all year, everybody, next week keeps coming. And more often than not, it's another good week. Love you guys. Sorry I'm getting fired up, but I have a lot of emotion when it comes to some of this, because I know how much hell we've all been through. I know the I know the road we've all been down. I know the long road, whether some of you are too young to remember the playoffs, which is disgusting, or many of us who have children like my 15 and 14-year-old that have that were born into Kings onesies. They were born into Kings onesies. They each had little Slamson dolls, Kings banners on their walls, having to go to school and see all these freshly pressed Steph Curry jerseys that bandwagon parents got their kids running around and saying, "Oh, the Kings suck." And now my kids get to puff out their chests a little bit, and so do yours. It's a good feeling, and I'm not taking it for granted, and I certainly don't take the road all of you've been on for granted too. So that's it. All right, ramble. We'll see you tomorrow. No, we won't. We'll see you Tuesday. I caught myself there. Have a wonderful night. Go Kings. Light the beam. Bye-bye now.